Listen to the radio. Harry and Edna's Wireless Show. You heard it from the Three Bells.
Whatto, Harry?
And whatto, Edna, and welcome to Harry and Edna on the Wireless, broadcasting from the Solent as we face dear old England.
What ho?
And welcome to Harry and Edna on the Wireless. Now in this programme, as we explore the vintage lifestyle for a steamed up monocle, we're not going to mention the weather.
No, I saw that on the script, Harry. Why? Well, not that we script, but we give ourselves prompts. Why?
The script.
The script. Oh, no. Our prompts.
This is when we go for like the... we win an award for the best unscripted programme when we go, well, it's actually scripted.
Well, it's not scripted, is it? We just give ourselves one or two prompts to make sure we try and stay on track, which we've completely gone off already by me saying the wrong word.
It says play music, talk, play music, talk.
Yeah, no, but going back to my point, which you started with, why does it say no mention of the weather? Well,
this is because Harry and Edna Wireless, we record the shows live, but sometimes due to the wonders of modern technology, there could be a few days between us actually talking and it being broadcast. So if we talk about this fantastic heat wave we've had, or the sheer amount of snow, it won't mean anything, because people could be listening to this in August, or they could be listening to it in December.
Oh,
you just don't know.
I thought it was because where we are located now, down south, that
don't mention the microclimate.
No. Well, I just thought we operated at a slightly different temperature to everybody else up north, which is anything from the Solent onwards, basically, is north to us.
Yes, yeah. So, anything you need to sail to is north.
Yeah, is north. And we can even grow palm trees here where we are, which is glorious.
What, on the Solent, on our bobbing boat?
Yeah, you can get. There's such lovely warm weather. We can grow palm trees on our boat / houseboat,
which bobs about a bit.
Which bobs about, yeah. It's been extra bobby lately because we've had several storms.
Because you went over, didn't you?
I did.
You went back to dear old England.
I did. I went over the Solent to the big smoky city.
You went right up north.
I did.
As far as London.
I know.
Now, that is up north.
That's
they talk funny up there.
Very metropolitan up in London as well. But I managed to get over the blue wobbly wet thing, and went on a training course in London. But I did a little bit of cultural things while I was there. I went to the Clink Museum, which, if you've never heard of it, is
do tell.
It's like a dungeon museum. It's like a museum dedicated to... Well, the Clink was was a prison, under the streets of London. And it was a debtor's prison, and it was showing you all the really awful ways in which you could be tortured, or things that you had to endure while you were in this debtor's prison. You had to pay for the privilege of going to prison.
So this is like, can't pay, we'll take it away.
Yeah.
Medievally.
It is, but the joy of it, well, it wasn't really joyful, you can't say that about prison. The thing with the debtor's prison is you had to pay for the privilege of going to prison, you had to pay for your bedding, pay for your meals, pay for your water or wine or whatever it was, beer they drank in those days, and you had to pay for all these things. So whilst you're in debt, you're only adding to your debt whilst you're in prison, unless your family bought you food, which you could do.
It sounds like one of them payday loans companies you get now, and you hear about that you take out 25 pence, and you end up owing £24,000 within 12 months.
Is that because people don't read the small print and there's like 1 billion% interest charge?
Who knows, but we've actually gone off because I was supposed to be running through on the script what we're actually featuring on the programme, and so far we've only got to point 2.
I forgot to mention the Clink prison. That was so interesting. Listeners, go. It's fascinating.
But you also went cultural. You went back. I mean, we're a vintage show and we do vintage stuff, but you went so far back. You even went to the theatre past in, I don't know,
Shakespeare's time.
Yeah, that's more than the regulated 50 years.
I know. I just, because we'd gone to the Clink prison thing, which was prison from 1500 onwards, we decided we'd then skip a few years and go to see a Shakespeare play at the Globe, which was just amazing.
Well, we can tell them more about that because we've also got a guest joining us on the phone.
We've got designer Wayne Hemingway, who talks all things vintage.
We do. We have. We're having Wayne.
We are.
Yeah, we'll tell you more about Wayne later on when we get
when we give him a ring.
When we give him a ring in the phone box. That's on the river. Oh, no, yes. The Solent.
The river.
The wet thing. Oh, there's a mess around here, isn't there?
Oh, there is.
What ho?
That track was called "The Mess Is Here" by Lionel Hampton. So, Harry. The mess is here. Is that the mess is in the mess is here? Look, you've been really messy and it's here.
Or is it our kitchen on the boat?
Yeah, the mess is over there in the kitchen on our boat. Or is it, I'm assuming they mean mess as in army.
What, the army mess tin?
No, didn't they have a room called a mess, don't they, which is their restaurant?
Yeah,
yeah.
That's it.
So is that the mess he's referring to?
Who, Lionel Hampton?
Yeah.
What, that well-known sailor?
Was he a sailor?
I don't know, I just made it up.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to get you to tell me what mess he was going on about in his song, The Mess Is Here.
I haven't the faintest idea.
Because would he have sung about an army mess or a navy mess?
Well, there wasn't a lot of singing in that full stop, really, was there?
Well, no. All right. Why would you make then an instrumental track about a mess?
Lionel Hampton played the xylophone.
Did he? Was that his instrument of choice?
That was his instrument of choice.
Oh.
A bit like Patrick Moore.
Yes.
You're thinking, who's he?
No, I know who he is, but I'm just thinking, does everybody else know who he is?
Anybody who was born pre-1970 will know.
Well, I was born post-1970 and I still know.
1970s?
Yeah. He wasn't that old. He didn't die that long ago, did he? Patrick Moore?
Sky at Night.
He was a known astrologer, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, as in moons and Jupiters and Saturns and stars. He presented a TV show. It's one of the world's longest TV show. It's been going for like 50... It's still going now, but there's another fella doing it now.
Is that because Patrick Moore died?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It did ruin the career a bit. But he was also... His party piece was that he used to play the... xylophone.
Sorry, you missed Harry's actions then while he was trying to think of the word.
Yes, yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's go back.
Okay.
So what are you doing at this theatre, and why does it say blanket on the script that we don't have?
It's not. It was a prompt. It's a prompt. Because I always wanted to go to the Globe. I've always loved Shakespeare, and Shakespeare's not your bag at all, is it, Harry?
I have seen some. There was we're here we went to the Isle of Wight, and they did a Shakespeare-y thing at Carisbrooke Castle.
Oh yeah, we did some open air theatre, didn't we, at the castle?
What ho?
Now our Wayne is getting fed up at waiting in phone box for us, and you still haven't told me what's this got to do with a blanket.
I know.
At the Shakespeare, at the Globe,
in
London, up north.
I have a burning question about who's Randall on his island. Now, is Randall an island, or is it a person who has an island?
At the moment, I wish I was an island.
Anyway, I must look up these things before I come on air. So, to get back to my story about the Globe, which is an amazing place to go, ladies and gents, go and see some Shakespeare there. It's absolutely incredible. So I decided with my chum that we would go and do something cultural in the evening, since Harry doesn't like Shakespeare or understand it or want anything to do with it. So me and my chum went to see Much Ado About Nothing, and we sat there in Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. What we hadn't said was that it had been snowing. So when we went to see... Well, you were asking why I was wearing a blanket. What else am I meant to say to the listeners? Because Harry's shaking his head at me. When I went, it was slightly cold and chilly. So we sat there wrapped in blankets. But the best thing was, as well, because it was a family performance, they tried to make it as children-friendly as possible. So they were dressed in modern clothes. And there's a scene in Much Ado About Nothing where they do a dance as part of the revelry, and they all came out in superhero costumes, which was just not what you were expecting, but incredibly funny, and they did this really funky dance. You would have found it hilarious, Harry.
If you listen to one of our back catalogue, because we have all our previous Harry Edna on the wireless shows, you used to work for various festivals, and there was one weird thing you had to do, I can't remember, and it was they got like a load of old mashed up cars, not old as in classic, but just old as in like from the scrap heap cars, and it was like some sound thing, and that was weird.
Oh, it was a soundscape, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was awful, that was. And I'll put this Batman in Shakespeare in his tight. Well, I suppose he's wearing tights, isn't he? No.
It was very funny. I love Much Ado About Nothing.
Can we take us back to something nice and culturally vintage? Something from my beloved 1940s. Can I?
Yes, go on then.
What ho?
This is Harry and Edna on the wireless, broadcasting to you via the radio. Plus, you can also hear us via On Demand, the internet streaming, downloadable podcast and YouTube. For more information, go to www.harryandedna.co.uk and click on the tab that says Wireless.
What ho?
I was thinking a bit of being a bit controversial here.
Yeah.
Thinking about the 90s.
Gosh, not the 90s. What the...
And I'm thinking of Saint Etienne.
1990s.
1990s. Saint Etienne, when the pop band that said, he's on the phone.
Fern.
And he wants to go home.
Fern.
Because we've got Wayne.
Well, that's if he's still in the phone box. He's been waiting a while, bless him.
He is. Yeah, because...
He's been running out of 2p's.
No, we're phoning him.
Oh, are we?
Yeah, this is Wayne. We've got to pay them.
You can't let him pay.
No. So, we have to get him on the phone. He's another famous South Coast resident. Well, actually, he lives all over the place, but he's got a place on the South Coast.
Yes.
So we could probably just take the boat over to him.
We could, couldn't we? Maybe we'll do that. We'll just power up the steamer and paddle off over the Solent
and land on his beach.
Yeah, beach ourselves on his beach.
What a rain! It's only
what a rain! We're a bit stuck. Give us a push.
And he'll go, "Who are you?"
Yeah, who are you? We'll have to remind him. It's us. It's Harry and Edna. How can you forget us?
How could he? It's like we could never forget Stan.
Stan? Who?
Stan Kenton. There you go. I managed to say it correctly.
Well done.
And what's the track?
It's called Artistry in Percussion.
What ho?
So now we're going over live to Wayne Hemingway, who's on the phone and live with us now. So hello, Wayne. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, we're great, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. Busy as always.
Brilliant. As we know, you're a huge fan of all things vintage, and sort of have a real flair for sort of incorporating it into the designs that you do. Does it really influence your designs? Is vintage something that you really are sort of heavily into?
Yeah, well, I suppose it's our kind of provenance, really. Myself and Geraldine, my wife and design partner, we started when we were still kids, really, still teenagers. We started off on Camden Market. Back in the turn of the 80s, and we had a big stall there. We started off with a small stall. It became very big. We probably became the biggest dealers in second hand, as it was called back then. Now it's called vintage, obviously. Yeah. And so it was steeped in us. And I've ever since I went to see David Bowie back in 1974, I've always worn second hand clothes. And Geraldine's got an enormous. I've never seen a woman with a bigger collection of second hand clothes than she's got. So it's steeped within us, and we own a museum called the Land of Lost Content, which is in Craven Arms in Shropshire, or we co-own that museum. Yeah, but which is kind of a collection of British memorabilia. Our house is, whilst we built a modernist house, but it was based on mid-century modern kind of lines. The house is full of upcycled materials and classic pieces, and I'm stood now talking to you in a 1960s jacket, a pair of 60s narrow leg trousers, a pair of 70s Northern Soul shoes, and an 80s shirt. And it is totally steeped in us, really.
So do you have a favourite style or period that you lean towards more so than any other?
I think in terms of graphic design, pattern, print and architecture, it would be mid-century modern. It would be the Festival of Britain and onwards, really. I think that whole era was a bright new beginning and very adventurous, and a lot of the buildings do really stand the test of time, and a lot of the furnishings from Robin and Lucian Day, are totally timeless, and that's what vintage means to myself and Geraldine, really. It's about timeless, great. We're designers, and so we love design that stands the test of time, that deserves a new airing for a new generation who weren't around when it first came out. Yeah, and and deserves, reinterpreting, and that's very different to the way that some people look at vintage. Some people look at it as kitsch and retro, and I, it's fun sometimes to have a bit of kitsch, and there's always some fun to be had with a pink flamingo.
Yeah.
But when it comes to retro, and that whole thing of what I consider to be retro, where you get people putting a rubber Elvis wig on and a big turned up collar and going out and doing all the moves at some, rewind festival or something like that. That all gets a bit. That's what gives vintage a bad name, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
What ho?
So what did you do with Wayne? He was just in mid-flow. Did you not run out of 2Ps?
I think he ran out of 2Ps.
The honest truth is he's a very busy chap, isn't he? And we did keep him hanging on a bit, and he had to go. We did.
But it was amazing working with Wayne, wasn't it? We had an amazing time.
What, you worked with Wayne Hemingway?
Did you know? I worked with Wayne Hemingway, and so did you, funnily enough.
We're going back many years.
We are. That was a few years ago now.
You can tell how many years ago, because we have our website, harryandedna.co.uk, and not originally, but there was a whole page about us working at the Festival of Vintage with Wayne.
We did.
And we don't have it on anymore, because that was about 2010. It's a long time ago.
Yeah, it was when our youngest was very little, because do you remember Wayne gave us a lift somewhere, and our youngest...
Oh, yeah, how to impress... How to impress a celebrity.
Yeah, and your youngest child embarrasses you, because he... As young children do, they do embarrassing things.
Yeah, he was driving us somewhere. We were looking at the festival site. We had our youngest at the time in the back. And let's just say he had to say, Wayne, do you mind if I open the window a bit?
Yeah. It was one of those moments you think, why now, of all the times to do it?
I forgot all about that.
Did you? Luckily, he's a father, so he does understand these things. It's Harry and I trying to be posh and not posh, just impress. Yeah.
We're not a load of country bumpkins.
No, we do know a thing or two.
And now we're seafaring folk.
I know, but it brings you down to earth, doesn't it? You have these surreal moments. And then when you're with children, they just do what children do, and it just it grounds you again, doesn't it? It's fair to say.
It does. Although he's no longer the youngest, is he? There's another one now. So,
yes, yeah.
So that's good.
So our middle son, as he is now, will never forget that moment, because we remind him often.
I shall make him listen to this show.
Yeah, and then we can remind him that he embarrassed us again.
Because he could listen to this show.
Do you know, can he?
He can.
How, Harry, how can he do that?
If he goes to harryandedna.co.uk, for our American friends, co is spelt C-O.
Really?
Well, I only said that because I like listening to the World Service. There's the British Broadcasting Corporation of the World Service, and they go bbc.co.uk.
Why do Americans spell co differently then?
They don't have a co.
Don't they?
No. Co stands for company. And they have
inks.
Inks, yes. They have inks. Incorporations or incorporated or something. They don't have codes. It's a Britishism.
But if you put .co.uk, could they not work out how to spell co then?
I don't know. Maybe that's why we don't hear from anybody from America.
Maybe because we've just assumed that you know these things, our lovely American listeners.
Yes, yeah. But the easiest way to get hold of us, though, our dearest American listener, or indeed anywhere else in the world.
Listeners.
Our listener.
Yeah. I think we have two.
If you go to Facebook and you look up Harry and Edna on the wireless, you'll find us. Because there is only one Harry and Edna on the wireless.
I was just going to say some really motivational things about working with Wayne, and we defaulted to our son embarrassing us.
It was, yeah. Because Wayne is an incredibly motivational person. If you ever want to book a motivational speaker, he's your man.
Yeah, because Harry and I, a few times when we went to meetings with him, we were going to sort of go, right, I had enough, fed up, and then we came out taking on twice as much as we originally had when we went in there. It's incredible. Such a really good motivator.
He is.
And just one of those really creative people that you just kind of energises you.
And because, admittedly he's from the wrong side of up north, like me. I'm from the correct side. I'm from Yorkshire.
I was going to wonder what you said then.
He's not quite from
wrong side of the blanket, I thought you were going to say.
No, he's the wrong side of the Pennines,
okay.
I believe.
Right.
He also does. They do the Festival of Thrift, and that I like that.
Yeah,
It
that's
speaks to me.
so you, isn't it?
It is. The Festival of Thrift is so me.
I think that one element you'd have probably enjoyed if you ever lived during World War II would have been the complete salvage and bath in 3 inches of water and
There would be no
reuse
squanderbug
everything.
with me.
No, you try and hang on to that now, don't you? But it doesn't always quite work in this modern world.
It does.
It doesn't.
It does when I have control of the thermostat. But we'll go into that a whole nother day.
Hive, no.
Because we've got to play a tune. We've got to play a tune. You like this because you like your books.
Right.
And if you remember advertisements from the past, you
Yeah.
may remember this tune.
What ho?
I'm racking my brains, Harry, and I can't think of the advert you mean.
Yeah, because this is a bit of a surprise for us, isn't it, really? I sound better now, don't I? I was a bit distant. Because this goes into something that Wayne didn't... He off air, he mentioned to us about how he classed the 90s as vintage, which scares me. And I think it was the early 90s that was part of an advert for a book company that has a bird.
Think Arctic, cold, bird, black and white bird.
as its logo.
Yeah.
And the bird is in like an oval.
Yeah.
That's part of the logo. And then it would lean back on it, the back of the oval, and slide down and relax. And he used to get his book out and read.
I don't remember that at all.
And that was the music that was to said advertisement.
It does surprise me that you remember an advert for a book company because you don't really do books and reading.
No, because bookshops, I thought we got rid of all of them.
No, please hang on to the bookshops. We need them. But talking about Arctic and cold and all things coming full circle.
We don't mention the weather. We had
No.
a falling out earlier, didn't we?
I know we did.
No falling. Don't mention the weather.
But I think that was because you didn't want to admit that you fell over the other day because of certain conditions that made it so that you could fall over. You were being all brave going down to see the sea, which had reputedly frozen
in August.
And then you went down to investigate and slipped over.
Oh,
and then
it
came
hurt.
back hobbling like an old man.
And there's not even a single mark on my body to show it.
So Harry was doing like some sort of crouched over, think of Gollum and Lord of the Rings sort of impression.
Is that a book?
No, well, yes, it was a book actually.
It's a book.
By Tolkien. Anyway, so Harry hobbled over the threshold of the boat, which was quite tricky because it was bobbing up and down. And then you were crying out in pain because you'd fallen over. And then when we had a look, because I was looking for this massive black bruise, there was nothing.
What I liked was the fact that my son, who we were talking about earlier, probably getting his revenge from me mentioning this on the radio, decided what he should do when his father's lying on pain in the road.
Was that to film you?
Is to film me, get his phone out and film it.
Well, you could get £250 for that.
I think I was Instagrammed.
Do you know the other time that was quite funny when you fell over? Because talking about thrift and saving money, Harry thought that he would glue the sole back on his shoe again.
I think I actually used gaffer tape.
No, I'm sure you glued it, and then in the end you gave up because it kept coming off. And then
this is the sole of my shoe, isn't it?
Yeah, then you gaffer taped it. And I kept moaning about getting rid of this pair of shoes and buying yourself some new ones. And you were doing your make, do, amend and thrift style campaign. So anyway, what does he do? He runs off after the train. His sole comes apart. He trips over the sole coming off the bottom of his shoe. It still makes me laugh thinking about it now. And then went and ripped a hole in his trousers. So for the want of a sole, trousers were spoiled.
And I had to go on the train.
And I have never let him live that down. And I remind him when he starts being silly about things like that you'll wreck a pair of trousers if you're not careful.
I think not.
It amuses me. It still makes me smile.
What ho?
There we go. We have had, what's that? I've lost complete
Shim, sham,
track.
shammy.
That was it. It was
Shimmy,
the Dorsey.
shimmy.
It was
Shim, sham, shimmy.
what did I say?
No, I just
Chamois.
said chamois.
I was thinking of chamois. Yeah, cleaning the
Chamois,
cars.
chamois.
Cleaning the cars. Well, you won't believe it.
Oh, no, don't...
There
you go. Time's
dear,
up.
again. You know what? That's someone's mobile phone going off.
Well, that's live recording for you.
And do you know what was live the other day? I was in the middle of a presentation.
Yeah.
And guess who phoned me in the middle of it?
What presentation were you doing?
I was doing a historical one about water and stuff.
Yeah.
I was commissioned to do this talk to the great and the good.
And then I rang you forgetting that you were in the middle of your demonstration talk.
And I'm going, Whose phone's that? Whose phone's that? Oh, it's mine.
Oh,
Oops,
sorry.
folks.
And then you rang me and say, I was in the middle of... Oh, yeah, I forgot. Sorry, love.
We are so professional.
Where are you when I need you?
If you, I mean, I haven't said this for a long time, so I'm allowed to say it again
Go on
because
then.
people won't remember this. But going back many a year, we were nominated for a music radio award,
Yes.
and it was things like that. That was the reason we didn't win it.
But I think it keeps it real and it keeps it live and it's fresh and happening.
Your mum's going to ring us up on your mobile.
I know.
in a minute, isn't she?
Cooey.
Well, I was going to say it's time for us to say toodle pip and tinkly tonk and all that, and I was going to say, and from Wayne, it's exactly, he's gone, isn't
Yeah,
it?
he has.
If I was clever, I would have had a boo, which I could have just edited in there, but I didn't have time.
Oh, you could do. Then that'll make it sound amazing. An old-fashioned kind of beep, 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 the pips are going noise.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a whole generation won't understand that, will they?
No. And was it on this show we were talking about a telephone table in the hallway?
We had it in the past. Actually, today,
Yeah.
my son was watching, I think it was an old TV show from the 90s or 80s, The Prince of Bel-Air.
Mm-hmm. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And they were talking on the phone, the landline,
Yeah.
which he has no concept of what a landline phone is.
And that you're tied to one spot.
You're tied to one spot. And then his friend got on the other phone. And then his other friend got on the phone and he's going to me, can you actually do that?
Really?
Yeah, because there was about 4 of them talking on the same phone at the same time.
Oh, cool.
And see, people won't have any idea what we're talking
No,
about.
and-
Anybody under 30 will go, what?
I know, and the jealousies. My friend, they had a telephone table under their stairs because that's where the phone was, and you could sit on one side on this like crushed velvet cushion thing, and there was a little table next to you, and they had one of those phone pads that you dialed the number on the top, so it was like A to Z, and you dialed round, and you got to say T, and you pushed it down, and it flipped open, and you could get all your numbers with
Did they have,
their surname start
did
with
they
T.
have a big book that was yellow that
They
had
did.
all the numbers
Well,
in
you had
it?
several books, didn't you? Because you had the business one, the residential one. There was about 3 or 4, wasn't there? Big books.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time one of those even got delivered to us. I presume they don't do them anymore.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Anyway, look, time has gone. Time has gone.
Oh, us reminiscing about our youth.
Yeah. So Wayne's already gone.
Yeah, the pips are gone.
The pips are gone on him. So it's just time for me to say tinkety tonk.
And it's a toodle pip from me.
What ho!